If you've always wanted to be more organised when it comes to your gardening, no matter what size garden you've got or what gardening system you prefer to use, this is the video for you. Welcome back, friends. Welcome back to the homestead. I'm in the kitchen, my kind of second office, and today in this video I want to talk through my thoughts on organising and being organised in terms of your gardening system or approach, or however you want to call it. And what I've tried to do is distill or solidify all my thoughts about being organised and what it is you need, and put it into kind of one video, one system. So let me introduce you to my plot, not my gardening plot, but my planning, listing, organisational triangle. And I've got a pointy stick to help me. I've always wanted to do a video with a pointy stick. So this is my triangle of organisation, and I've managed to distill everything into this one triangle. So how does it work? Right at the top, you need a core goal. My core goal is maximum harvest, minimum effort. What do I mean by that? And also everything in here is as simplified as possible as well. I don't want to like lists, and although lists are important in this, for this I want this as simple as possible. Maximum harvest could be maximum yield from a given space. It could also be maximum variety of vegetables and fruit and things like that, which is in our case, but I appreciate sometimes space is of a premium. Not everyone has the amount of space that we do. And even if it's a windowsill box, this still applies really. There's lots you can do with that. Minimum effort. I'm not lazy, but it seems pretty stupid to me to put more effort in than you need to in order to have a given outcome. So it's about working, I know it's a cliche, but it's about working smarter, not harder. It takes some time to figure that out. I was fortunate that I had time to sit down and work out how I could, we spent a year here doing the things the way they'd always been done, and then I sat down and worked out how could we do it better and more efficiently. That's my kind of mantra, that's my core goal. It would be easy, of course, with that. We then need some perhaps rules to be able to govern us a little bit and guide us of how to achieve that, because it would be easy in the gardening world perhaps to throw a load of chemicals around, chemical fertilizers and weed killer, and that's could give us minimum effort and maximum harvest. But that's not really how I want to live, because I want to be a good steward of the earth. So I have to give a couple of rules. Now, here are my rules. Care for the soil. So these act as a filter. That's rule number one. So that filters that I cannot put chemicals and whatever down, because I need to care for the soil in order to achieve that goal. Secondly, I must have fun. I put that in because I think we can sometimes, we need time and space to have fun in this world. We can be robbed of that, and we don't want a place which, a garden is a great place for well-being, for that to rob us as well. So I put that rule in there to make sure that I didn't get, I checked myself that I wasn't getting overwhelmed by it, overruled by it. It wasn't taking up all my time when I could be doing things with spending time with the family and stuff like that. Yeah, it does take a lot of work in our garden, but also we need to keep that in check. So that was a second rule that I thought was important. Your rules might be different. That's absolutely fine, but these are my rules. But you do need some filters there in order to make that work, and don't have too many. I would say no more than 3 really. Trying to distill it as much as possible down to the core, down to the bare bones. And then there's all the stuff that we need to do to be able to make this happen. And I split that into 2 sides. I've got the physical side and non-physical. I could have maybe called this the what and that the how. But that doesn't quite work. There's probably better terms than that, but if you think of a better term, then let me know. By the way, if you like this video at any point, do give us a thumbs up. It really helps us to reach more people and build our channel. So in the physical side, we've got tool care. Winter's a time for resting, but it's also a time for taking check of what's going on and check our tools. If they need fixing, they need oiling or sharpening or whatever it is, cleaning, do it now. Because nothing is more frustrating when it comes to the time when you do need it, you go to grab it and it's broken, and then you've got to spend precious time that you need to be using somewhere else, and when you could have been doing it now. Again, having fun. That's not fun when you go to get a tool and it's broken, when you could have fixed it like now when you got dead time, rather than when you need it. So tool care is really important to get organised with tool care. Equipment and setup. Yeah, it might mean buying new tools. What tools do you need to be able to achieve what you want to achieve this year? When you've, some of these are a bit cyclic, so you might have to do this side, which I'll explain in a moment, which brings you back to this side. Trays, seedling trays, all sorts of stuff like that. What condition are they in? Because they tend to deteriorate quite quickly. I'm quite keen to invest in these new ones, the thicker plastic, which last about 15 years. It strikes me as a good use of money. The outlay is a lot to start with, but it's better for the environment, and they last longer really. So what equipment and setup do you need to be able to achieve what you want to achieve? It could be, these are all, that's a listing element, but it is an exercise to look through catalogues and all that sort of stuff. It is a physical, you're making purchase of a physical item. Seed management. Let me just talk about seed. I used to have, you've seen it in other videos, or you can go and see it in other videos if this is your first time here. I had my seeds in alphabetical order. That kind of worked. I mean, previous to that, it was chaos, seed chaos, when I kind of inherited it from my mother-in-law. They were all wrapped into bundles. You couldn't see what anything was. You didn't know what was there. I put it into alphabetical order. That did work, but there was like language issues with, was it in English alphabetical order or Latvian alphabetical order, which was fun. And it was all out, it was prone to, it could fall over and everything would be spilled and all sorts of stuff like that. So it wasn't ideal, although it was systemized well, it wasn't particularly safe. So my new system, I have invested into this box. This is not a seed box per se, it's actually a photo organising box. You've got 16 mini boxes inside a plastic box. It's sturdy, it's going to last a long time, it's not going to be thrown away after a year. And then in the mini boxes you keep, you divide it what works for you. For me, I've kind of done it by family and dividing the family. So for example, brassicas is a big family. So I've got leafy brassicas and more kind of root ball, well, they're not root, but ball type brassicas. Cabbages are separate because we have so many cabbages, variety of cabbages here. That's got its own separate container. Alliums, I've got onions in one, I've got leeks in another. That's another good example. There's my cabbage box, for example. Leafy greens, beetroots. The only thing I don't keep in here are my peas and beans, legumes, because the seeds are a lot bigger and bulkier, and that can be kept in one separate safe place, separate box. Works perfectly okay. Maybe in the future I'll get a second one of these and expand it more, but for now this works. And if I want to go to visit a friend who's also into gardening, I just grab this and go. Presumably they don't want legumes, but majority of my seeds are here. Easy to find, easy to put away, safe. If it falls over and drops, it doesn't matter, they're not going to fall out. All the seeds are safe. So that's organised seed management, gardening system. You will have a way that you manage your garden. The way that I manage mine, and this would be a part 2 to this really, I have documented in bits and pieces in other films that I've done, other videos, and you can see that I use all my beds are 75 centimeters by 10 meters. They're all 75 centimeters wide. All the tooling is made for that. I made it myself. It's all standardized. But I can go into a greater detail in a separate video. But you have your own garden system that works for you, and you just need to maybe review that and understand your own gardening system so it operates within this triangle. So that's the physical side of things. Then there's a non-physical, which is more the how and the more planning sort of. I do a lot of this on Excel on a computer, and graphic programs. You might want to work with paper, and that's absolutely fine if that works for you. Use a paper system. So I store on my Excel spreadsheet, I store seed data. I've got all my seeds listed, how many days to harvest, so I know how long they're going to be in the ground, the optimum time to plant them, and what spacing they need in the beds, which is really important for efficient spacing to maximise everything you get out of the single bed. Planting plan. I know which seeds or transplants will go where within the garden, and I know that year on year as well if you want to rotate stuff. Wider garden plan. You might have your main garden with all your vegetables, but you might have fruit bushes and an orchard and stuff like that, which all need managing, and you need an idea of how that is operating and how you want to grow it and expand it or contract it even. But you need that to be considered as part of your plan. And then you've got admin, budget, and SWOT. Admin is just general administration you need to do to make your garden operate, including your budget. So if you've got stuff here, equipment you need to buy, you need to know how much money you've got to be able to do that, what you're going to be able to do this year, what needs to be done next year, and stuff like that. It's good to have a budget and know what your limits are. SWOT is something we use in business. If you've never heard of it, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. What things are they good at? What does your garden do well? What does your soil do well? What does your climate do well? Understand your strengths, and the opposites are the weaknesses. What doesn't work where you are, and don't try to, if it doesn't work year on year, give it more than one chance, but year on year, maybe give it up as a bad thing. Maybe ask someone else if they can do it and do a bit of bartering between people. Opportunities, where are you missing areas that you didn't have before? For example, now we've got a fence up, we might be able to grow sunflowers around the fence. That wasn't open to us before, or grow things up the fence. There's a new opportunity that we could utilise and gain from. And threats, things like the weather, the frost. Have you got the right equipment to be able to cope with frost? What happens if you have a washout of your garden? These are all things that you can sit down now and work out, yeah, that might be appropriate to us. What do we be able to do to alleviate that problem, to minimise it? These are all things you can sit down now and work out. So that is my plot, my planning, listing, organisational triangle. Your bits might be different than mine, but generally that will work. It will work with any garden system, any size garden, any setup, any greenhouse. If you include that as well, they're all different areas. What do you think? Let me know what works for you, what wouldn't work for you. What have I missed out? Have I missed out anything at all? I hope not. If you want a copy of this, I'll try and get a copy down in the link in the description below. So was that helpful? I hope so. If it was, we've got lots of other videos that will be equally helpful to you. I wish you a fantastic 2024 season and planning. Come back to me if you use the system and let me know, feedback to me. I'm really interested to hear from you about that. Thanks for watching. If you got this far, don't forget the thumbs up, do subscribe. I will see you in another video very soon. Bye for now.